coming.
No problem. What, is this the formal introduction? Hello.
I've never done this before. I was just compelled. Cool. So thanks for coming, Jennifer. And how did I find you? Oh yeah, we got in touch on Instagram. And actually,
I think I was on
your PR.
Yeah.
She contacted me. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's some cool girl.
Yeah. I mean, how did we come across Cool Girls Club? I think we were just going through like Eventbrite.
Okay.
Either Eventbrite or something to do with like events, because I knew you had an event coming up, and you know my friend who does like the PR stuff, she was like, oh, you should check out this this page, and we went on your socials, and you know we saw what you were all about, and we thought, oh, we'd like to work with them, and you know seemed cool. I wanted to be a cool girl as well.
It is a cool girls club. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try very hard to be cool and
doing
just
a great
embodying the cool girls club.
Yeah.
But I also need you guys to come and add some of your coolness to the recipe. So thanks for coming. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. So my name is Jennifer Okolo. I am, well, first of all, I work in mental health. I'm a therapist. And then I also own a brand called She Aspires UK, which is all about women empowerment, mainly focusing on career, but we do talk about lifestyle as well. And it's a blog, so we've got weekly posts on there where people talk about some of their experiences and give you some tips in the workplace or just in career in general. We've got quite a few things coming up as well, which I might talk about later on.
Yes, sure.
But yeah, it's just something that I started maybe 4 years ago now. So gosh, it's been a while. Just realised, it's been a long time.
4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. 4 years, like literally just starting it. But I suppose like when it actually started kicking off, maybe 2 years now. So
okay.
Yeah.
So what's your mission through She Aspires?
So with She Aspires, what we're trying to do is be unfiltered with the type of advice that we're giving out and the type of tools that we're giving young women. What I found anyways was that I would go to so many events and be signed up to so many women empowerment brands, which is fine if I wanted to just feel good. But then on other days where I actually wanted some tips and just some realistic stories that I could relate to, I found it really hard to find. And that's why, you know, I make it a point that She Aspires is unfiltered. We give you the real tea. You know, if we're struggling, you will know that we're struggling. And that's just life in general, because life isn't perfect and we shouldn't portray ourselves to be perfect. Yes, you know, sometimes you want to portray the more positive sides, but for somebody who is looking up at you, it might just be unrealistic. So
yeah, I think there's a real just difference between what you see on social media of someone who can be very inspiring, but then the reality of how things are for them in their real life. Like you know, when you see, very often I post photos of myself on traveling and doing all these amazing things that I love doing. But you know, and instantly people just assume that, you know, I'm some rich girl from I don't know where that my parents are just funding the thing. It's really not like that. I do struggle. Not all the time. I have ups and downs, and I have times where you know money is flowing and it's great and I'm happy and I get to do what I want, and then there's other times where
but you know what? To be honest, we've all gone through the same thing as well. You know,
I think
I'm
just
sure
no one's talking about it.
No one is talking about it, and it's not necessarily one or the other's fault, because you know, like you said, you want to post pictures of you doing nice stuff. Nobody wants to post pictures of them crying or anything like that. But it's just finding that balance. Because at the end of the day, if you've got a brand like, you know, She Aspires and Cool Girls Club, you're gonna have people looking up to you, whether they're young or whether they're old or in between, and they're looking up to you to be inspired and also to feel like they can do it too. Therefore, we should be able to provide a realistic kind of outlook of how
Yeah.
we are as well, and what
Yeah.
experiences we're going through. I think that's only fair.
Yeah.
And it's what I would have wanted when I was younger.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're looking for mentors. We're all always looking for mentors. Like, this person has done it, or is at a level in their life that I would like to be. And so being able to approach them and just ask them real questions, like, how did you do that? Do you have contacts there or here that I could potentially get in touch with to help me out? Like, yeah, I think it's important.
It is.
Cool. So my next question is about purpose. Purpose is a very big thing for me, and I talk a lot about it, and it's not always fully understood by the general public. And so I think it's important to know what other women think about purpose, or what their philosophy around purpose is. And so, what is your purpose?
So I suppose let me just start with what is purpose to me, because that's, everyone defines purpose in different ways. And for me, it's what am I destined to do here? What am I innately destined to do? Not something where I have to force myself. And once I understood that, that's when I realized, okay, I think I kind of know what my purpose is. I might not have it all figured out, but I can pick out the pieces of my life where it makes sense. So for me, my purpose is to care for people and to problem solve. Now, I say this, and to other people it might sound very specific, but it's not something that I made up. I looked at how I was living and the type of personality that I had. I like to, care for people in a sense where my friends, for example, I would always be there to listen to them. I'd always go out of my way to help them out in different situations. And I'd also try to problem solve as well. I'm, some of my friends might agree, is I'm the sort of person where you come to if you have a problem and you want me to unpick it and try and figure out with you what to do next. And even at my workplace, as a therapist, you're always problem solving. Whatever that client comes to you with, you're trying to unpick it and figure out what they are supposed to be doing next and what kind of advice you can give them. So once I looked at the things that I was doing in my life, it made it a lot easier to figure out what my purpose is. However, that being said, I suppose due to just naturally when you doubt yourself and you're like, I'm not actually good at caring for people. Like, it sounds so basic, caring for people, but
can I really make a difference?
Can I really make a difference? Am I actually adding value to other people's lives? Am I actually solving their problems, or am I just telling them what to do? So that kind of doubt definitely
creeps in
and makes me, I suppose, think again about what my purpose is. But I suppose the good thing about purpose is it's evolving all the time, and you can't just have, I don't think you can just have one purpose. People have different things that they bring to the table, and you shouldn't feel boxed in. I used to feel not boxed in, but I used to feel like, okay, let me find my purpose. That's the one thing I'm going to do in life.
Yeah,
it's not realistic.
That's actually boring.
It's boring. It's so boring, because that's the one thing you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. No.
Yeah, we're all multifaceted.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the word I was trying to look for. We're so multifaceted.
It's important we embrace the different aspects that make us alive, that fulfill us. I used to think the same. I used to think that there was this one thing that I was meant to be doing, and that was the one thing I had to do. And then I realized, actually, but I don't want to say goodbye to this part and that part and this activity or this side of me. And then I understood that actually I can embrace all of them.
Yeah, definitely. But I would say, like I said at the beginning, something that comes innately to you.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think people do need to realize, that if it doesn't come natural to you, or you don't have that natural passion for it, it's hard to kind of think, okay, that's my purpose. It's hard to label it that. And I suppose if you go out of your way to try and, you know when you have to force yourself to love something, but you know deep down that you don't, but you're just doing it because you think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's where you probably have a problem there.
Yeah.
So just make sure that it's something that is, very meaningful.
Yeah.
And just something that comes naturally to you. And we all have it. It's just a matter of paying attention to your, what you're doing, your behaviors, your personality.
Yeah.
Being more self-aware.
One of the definitions of purpose is to use one's innate abilities and natural gifts and talents to be of service to the community. And I think that's a great definition of purpose, is to really tap into your existing gifts and talents, because we all have them and they're all very different. And you'll find that actually you love your gifts and talents. So whatever you're doing effortlessly, you know, like if you are caring for someone and that's just your natural way of being with people, you're not perhaps conscious of it, but you actually love doing that. And so following your heart is definitely the way to start going into that direction.
Yeah, definitely agree.
So are you living your purpose?
I would say I am at the moment. I'm living my purpose in my job. I'm living my purpose through She Aspires and through meeting people like you. So yes, I would say that. Do I have doubts sometimes? Not necessarily about my purpose, but whether I'm fulfilling it, of course. And I think that's always going to happen because we're human beings and we have feelings, and that's just how we are. But I suppose as long as you know what your purpose is, you know that you can always fall back on it even if you divert a little bit.
Yeah.
And your purpose can be found in so many different ways. So I've just mentioned my job. Doing She Aspires. It could just be volunteering somewhere. It could just be walking the park, speaking to a stranger. It could be in any type of form. So it's not something that you have to, that has to be specific.
Yeah, you can just be your purpose.
You can just be, exactly. You can just be your purpose. It doesn't have to have a label on it.
Oh.
What I will say as well is, just because you found your purpose, whatever it might be, it doesn't mean that it's just going to be totally easy. It doesn't mean that it's going to be 100%. You can find your purpose. No, but it's true. You can. My job, for example. Yeah. I love my job. I love what I do. I care for people. I'm able to inspire people at the same time. But sometimes I just don't like going into work, and it's not necessarily because I don't like my purpose anymore. It's just I'm having a bad day.
You're human.
I'm having a bad, exactly. I'm human as well, and it's just.
Human being.
And I think that's why, because I've heard some people say, and even some of my friends say to me, "Oh, Jennifer, I don't know what my purpose is. I thought I liked this, but now I don't like it anymore. Have I just lost my purpose?" And I'm like, no, you haven't lost your purpose. You're just having like a down day or a down week. Yeah. And maybe it takes finding other things and doing other things to get back to your purpose. Yeah. It might be that.
What do you love from She Aspires? Like, what do you get from it?
What I love is when people send their stories to me, when they write on the blog and they share their experiences, and the fact that they trust She Aspires to be a safe space for them to express themselves in that way and share their experiences just warms my heart, because that is what I wanted. I wanted to create a safe space for women to share their stories and for people to refer to it if they feel like they need some sort of information or anything like that. So I'll say that, and then also the people that I've met through it. She Aspires isn't something that I didn't plan to start it. It kind of just, I would say it just happened, but I want to be careful of what I'm saying, because it didn't just happen. It wasn't just magic, no. But in a sense where I never had it in mind, like, okay, I'm going to create a community. I never had it in mind. And once the opportunity came, and I was asked to create a project, because She Aspires was a project at the time, I found my purpose through that. Through She Aspires, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm able to connect with so many people just through this project. I'm going to carry on.
Awesome.
You know?
So what you do through She Aspires, you create events, you have a podcast as well.
Well, so the podcast is separate from She Aspires.
Okay.
So I suppose, so the podcast is called She's in the Pod. And it's with two other ladies. Came together, we each have our own individual platforms. Mine being She Aspires, and we just talk. It's more of a casual conversation that we have with our audience about some of the experiences that we've gone through.
In life in general, or
this one is more life in general. So
okay.
I would say, like, we talk about relationships, we talk about having a 9-to-5 and having a side hustle too.
Yeah.
You know, some of the things that people might not necessarily talk about.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about body confidence.
Yeah.
And having no confidence as well in your bodies. And again, the main ethos is to be as authentic and honest as possible with our experiences. We're not trying to portray to you that we are all perfect.
Yeah.
And even as I speak to you now, I am not perfect, and that's absolutely fine.
You not?
I'm not, honestly. Oh gosh. But yeah, that's so. Yeah, we've got the podcast, which happens bi-weekly as well. And then She Aspires, it focuses mainly on careers.
Okay.
That's where I found my niche.
Okay.
You know, my purpose maybe. Yeah, so we talk more about how to elevate yourself in the workplace, and got lots of students as well.
I would think so, yeah.
Got
like
loads of students,
younger audience,
yeah. Who want to find out more, and they're curious. It's cute.
Yeah,
I was like that as well, so.
yeah, definitely. I went to give a few talks to University of Westminster.
Did you?
Yeah, because I'm an alumni, and the students who come at the end of the talk, and they're just like, oh, I'm doing this master's, and I don't know what to do next, and what do I do next, and how, like, what did you do, and how did you, I don't know. And I'm like, that's so cute.
But you know what's crazy? It's like you were once in that position as well.
Man, I was that for a long time, because I actually started studying later because I was just really not sure of what I wanted to do. And then even after I did my bachelor's, even after that, you know, I did international relations. Like, what do you do with that? That's so big. There's so many things that I could do with that, and just the sheer unknown of
scary.
What do I do? You know, I could do this and I could do that, and I could, you know, and then where's the money? And if I did that, you know, would my dad be happy? You know, would my family support me in doing that? Or I was like that for most of my life until about maybe 5-6 years ago, where I kind of got very, very clear on what I wanted. And since then, I have to say, it's never been the same. Like, I've never looked back. But for most of my life, I was what do I want? What do I want to do? Like, kind of like, just taking opportunities as they come. Yeah. But
and that's normal, I suppose. And you know, even if I say this now, well, I might as well say it. But it's just in general, I tell my friends, I'm winging it. I'm actually just winging it. Yeah. Not to say that I'm not, you know, doing my research and everything, but just life in general, I kind of just take my chances, and if something doesn't work, I'll go on to the next. Yeah. And that's what life is all about. Failure doesn't mean that failure doesn't mean that you're going to be a failure forever. It just means that next time you're going to be
this better. One thing here didn't work.
That's literally how you have to think about it. This one thing didn't work. Let's go on to the next. How can I do better? Yeah. And that's what I keep trying to tell myself every single day, that if something doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Because I am an overthinker. Yeah. I overthink a lot, especially when I came out of university. No, forget about university. When I came out of college, I was thinking, what am I going to do in my life? Oh my gosh, the world is so big. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And I wish there was somebody to tell me to chill down. Just chill out, okay? Life is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And just use this time to kind of explore the world and take on different opportunities. And that's what I would tell people out there as well. Like,
I was going to ask you, what would you tell young women?
I would say take every opportunity as it comes. And you might, even if you might feel, I suppose, uncomfortable, or you might feel inadequate, just take it. If it doesn't work out, figure out how you can learn from it to be better.
Yeah.
And I think without failure, you can't really get better. If you go into it thinking you're know-it-all, oh my gosh, I've got all the skills, there's no way I could fail, you're not going to be prepared for the hurdles you're going to face, because you're going to face hurdles. But saying that as well, I would also send a message that you are good enough. Yeah, it's what's maybe why it's taken so much time, or why it might be taking a bit longer, is because you just haven't found the right thing yet, or the right thing hasn't found you yet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine. Just wait a bit.
Obviously, you're a therapist, so I'm sure that the tools that you learned at school, throughout your training as a therapist, did that really help you to overcome some of your own psychological limitations? Yeah.
Something that we learned, and I don't think it's just in just with my course, but I think most people know about it, SMART goals.
Okay. I don't know about that.
So basically, SMART goals, they stand for specific, I hope I get this right, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time. I think that's how it is. But when I first came across it, in terms of how you set out your goals, because when I used to set out my goals, I used to just write stuff randomly, which is fine, you know, put things out there in the universe. But SMART goals really helped me narrow it down and help me figure out, okay, so what are the steps I need to take to get to that goal? And, you know, I still had my goals of, I want to be known internationally for doing this and doing that. I want to have my own business. And when I did my SMART goals and what it actually involved doing, it involved public speaking. It involved working with other people. It involved stepping out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I sat back and thought, oh gosh. So this is my goal, and this is how I need to get there. And that's when I realized that my fear is stopping me from reaching the things that I want to achieve. Yeah. And that's one thing you should never ever do. Let your fear stop you. So once I realized that was my kick in the ass. You're not going to get there unless you do that. Yeah.
Unless you get over yourself.
Unless you get over yourself. And I think there's that, once you realize that, and if you have enough passion, enough drive in you, you will be able to do it. Everyone has their own lane, you know. Yes. Yeah, sometimes we can cross lanes, but ultimately you've got your own path of how you're going to get to where you're going to go to. Yeah. Everyone doesn't start off the same. Not everyone starts off with a blank page.
At the same level.
With the same
money.
Yeah. It's all different, but it's a challenge to everybody on how they're going to use the tools that they've been given.
My last question for you is, what is a cool girl and what does it take to be one?
Okay, to me, a cool girl is somebody who can be their authentic self. Now, that might look like somebody who's very quirky, somebody who's extremely smart in education, or just whatever that you're doing, but it's more about being yourself, and that makes you cool. It's about that sense of individuality. And what's the second question?
What does it take to be?
What does it take? It takes
a cool girl.
It takes, for me anyways, it takes really digging deep and knowing what kind of person you are and being okay with it. Be okay with being a little bit weird, or a little bit quirky. Be okay with it. I am, and it took me a while to love that, and now I do, because it makes me stand out and it makes me cool. Yeah. It
makes you special.
Yeah, it makes you special. So different from, you know, the next Dick, Dom and Harry. Apologies to anybody who's named that, but
is there anyone who's named?
I hope not. Harry, yes, probably.
Yeah,
but,
Harry, yeah.
it just makes you stand out from the crowd, and
yeah,
you don't want to blend in.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. I think cool. Yeah, definitely not. I think cool people are unapologetically themselves, without being dicks. You know.
Yeah.
I think there's a slight thing about being arrogant and being cool. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm arrogant about it, but no, I think it's I agree. I would agree with that. With what you said, it's about being authentic and owning who you are and be okay and know yourself and be okay.
Be okay with it.
Yeah.
And rock it.
Yeah.
Don't hide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having answered all my questions.
Thanks for having me. I had a good time.
Just let people know where they can find you.
Okay. So you can find me personally on Instagram and Twitter at Jen Okolo for both of them. And you can find me on my website, sheaspires.co.uk. Sorry, we just changed it. Sheaspires.com. And on our socials, She Aspires UK for all of them. We made it super easy for everybody, so it's all the same.
Good.
And yeah, we've got some things coming up. We've got a new merch line coming up very soon. Hopefully in time for International Women's Day.
Yes, that'd be great.
So yeah, make sure you check it out. Stay in the loop basically, and stay connected.
Stay in the loop. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.